Alright, welcome back to another Sledgehammer Tie-Dyes episode. Today I'm going to be doing a gravity dye. It's going to be a side scrunch gravity dye that flows towards the center. This was a bit of a request. So yeah, pretty simple idea. So let's go ahead and get into it. So what I'm going to want to do is measure out the distance from here on our shirt. But speaking of our shirt, it has been soaked in soda ash, spun out, and then flipped inside out, and then given the center symmetry flip. If you want to see how to do the center symmetry flip, I've got a video on that, and I'll link that in the description. But what we want to do right now is kind of find, we're about like a third of the way of the distance through the shirt from here. So we've got about 10.5 inches, so then we'll go around like 3 1/4-ish. That's close enough. So that's about where we're gonna draw our line on this. So I'm just gonna come down and give it a few points just so I can line them up. And there we go. And this is kind of a rough estimate. It doesn't have to be specifically that. And this is going to just be a guideline for us. You know, it's like pirate rules. They're just guidelines. All right. And then from here, I'm going to kind of swap the angle over just a tad bit. And that will be sufficient. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be scrunching up this area and leaving this kind of in pleats, I guess you can say. So let's just kind of go in here, get everything started to scrunch up. Okay, and that's essentially the magic of it all. As far as the tie goes, not too much of a tie. You could get like a rubber band, or you could use kite string to kind of hold this down. But the way that we're going to be doing this with the ice enclosure, it's not quite necessary. So let's swap over to where I've got the enclosure set up, and let's get this guy going. Okay, so now that we've got our shirt on our rack over here, I just kind of have it clamped down just barely on the edges just to make sure that this thing doesn't kind of slide and fall over. I do have a bit of saran wrap going over the top. That's just so whenever I place the dye, if I get a little shaky or something, it will hopefully prevent some dye falling down onto the folds or the little pleats or whatever that are hanging down. But yeah, so the colors that I'm going to be using, I gave the option of the color choice to the person who requested this, and he said that he liked it with a little bit of a darker colors, maybe more camo, maybe fire colors. So I'm going with fire red, forest green, Kelly green, tangerine, and then I'm going to throw a little bit of bronze in there as well. So let's start off. So I'm just going to be putting the dye in smaller areas. And kind of varying them throughout the shirt. And you definitely want to pay attention to where you're putting dyes on the very edge of this, because those are the dyes that are primarily going to roll and fade down in that gravity. Okay, so that's the majority of it laid out. I'm gonna go back in and add in a few more bits of red. I kind of covered up a couple of them with some of the yellows, and I do want that red to come peeking down through, so let's do that. Okay, so that's essentially it for the die placement. So now I'm gonna grab some soda ash and throw that on top. And now we need our ice. So I'm going to use some more of my block ice rather than the nugget ice, mainly so I can just set it right on top. All right, time to peel back this saran wrap. And that definitely saved us from getting a lot of dye down that shirt. We still did get some, but I'll take some over a lot any day. Okay, so I do have a little cardboard cutout that I made. Just gonna kind of set that right over the top. Okay, so now I'm just gonna continue adding a little bit more ice, but not a whole lot. All right, so that's it. Now I'm just gonna let that melt through, and I'll keep my eye on it over the course of the next few hours to see if it needs more ice. All right, well, it's been about 24 hours, and this is what we got. So let's start rinsing this thing out. Okay, so this is what we got at the moment. So let's throw it in the wash, see how it comes out. Okay, so here it is out of the dryer, looking pretty good. Definitely got some really interesting colors that mixed when it came in. A lot of that green came through, but then again, pretty much half the colors I put on here were green. Got some of those nice fiery bits going on. Yeah, looking pretty good. The only thing I would change, I think, if next time I do this shirt is where I put this line. I measured out about 1/3 from where it was. I think I'd probably take it up to about 1/2. Maybe a little less, but just to get some more of these things going on the sides. But it's looking pretty good. I mean, if you look at it from the side, it's definitely pretty cool. So, yeah, I really like this shirt. I don't think it's quite as dark as the guy who requested it would probably like. I've seen some of his shirts that he's gotten, and a little bit darker than this one. But still, really good colors. I do like how this came out. And if you liked it as well, be sure to give it a like. Maybe throw a comment down below if there's something you want to see in the future. But until then, that's Sledgehammer Tie-Dyes out.